Hello, welcome to the very first live of my life and on this channel, on this profile. I always keep on calling it a channel, sorry, not sorry. From burnout to joy, how I've built a career that I enjoy, that I love, without completely uprooting my life. So I didn't move to Bali to teach yoga, or I didn't move to Bieszczady Mountains. These are Polish mountains to become a farmer. Like, I work in tech. I've created a business that I wake up happy most days, just to go for the day, which definitely wasn't the case in the past. I mostly either dreaded or was indifferent to a day ahead, and now I feel much more joyous. So I wanted to share my story because I think it could be very helpful to you if you're struggling with like constant dissatisfaction, that you don't want to be in this place, in this role, in this company, but you don't know what else can you be doing. Like, I know I don't want this, but I don't know what I want. So that's been me throughout my entire 20s. I'm happy to share today what helped me get to the point where I'm much more happier and grounded in my life. So I will be also, if the technology allows me, I will be also publishing it on my YouTube channel. So if you're watching it on YouTube, hello. If you're watching it on Instagram, you can also check on YouTube. It's the same name as my name here, Agata Sirocka. Feel free to subscribe. There are also like longer videos there. And on YouTube, the good part is that you can, always pause the video, and when I share name of some resources, you can Google them or Ecosia them, or you can check them out. You can just pause the video, and I think on live it doesn't really work that well here on Instagram. So you have options. It will be here on Instagram, and it will be on YouTube. So without further ado, after this slightly longer introduction, I wanted to share this this journey from burnout to joy. So how I built a career that I really enjoy. So a little bit background story, and you can check the about me, or you can check my LinkedIn. So then you can always check all the details there. But basically, throughout this last decade, I never knew what I wanted to do. Like, I was one of these children to whom school came relatively easy. Like, I was good at Polish, like it's my native language, and English. I was good at maths. It's just like things came easy to me. Like, I know it's like a very like privileged thing to say. Like, I had like a really good memory and didn't have any troubles learning, which was great. But also on the other hand, like, I never knew, like, you probably hear this like zone of genius everywhere, and this like self-development space. Like, I had no clue what's my zone of genius. I was like, I don't know, like, I can do, like, you tell me to do something, I will do it relatively quickly and relatively well, like, I never really thought, like, what could I love doing, like, and even the advice that I would read, like, oh, just think what you like doing when you were a kid. And I was like, well, when I was a kid, I liked drawing, I liked swimming, I liked spending time with dogs and horses and reading books. How can that help me make a career out of that? So I went to study finance and accounting, because it sounded like a pretty universal choice, to go to business school. And I don't regret it. I'm happy I chose it, but it was definitely something just to, like, honestly make my parents happy that I have like a proper education. And so when I started my career, my professional career, right, like, I'm not talking about like university jobs where I would work like in a hotel or teach maths or other things like that. But like, when I actually like started like, like full-time employee jobs, I in every job I stayed like between a year and a half, and afterwards I was like, you know what, like I just cannot be here. Like I don't know, like this is like some places where just like straight up the team was, well, not very not the best working environment. I'm just gonna say this. Some were just like really nice workplaces. People were cool. Like I had good opportunities to be promoted, and you know, but I was just like very unhappy. Either way, like I felt like I don't belong, and all this advice, like to, you know, like this like figure out what you like as a child, was just so useless to me. And I was so frustrated. So what has helped me in this like entire route is, first thing was this taking this pressure off that I need to figure out from 0 to 100, right? That I will know straight away. Because if for 20, I don't know, like 4 or 5 years, I never ask myself question, what do I actually enjoy doing? And what I'm like particularly good at, then like I'm not gonna figure it out in like one day, right? So first thing that helped me was really this taking pressure of it, of this, that I need to figure it out now, and look at this incremental changes. So how it looked for me is like I started working corporate, and it was very pretty clear to me that this is not a workplace for me. Like I don't like all this politics. I don't like this very narrow set of tasks that you're doing. Like I like when it's more variety. So for me, like the first step was just looking at the type of workplace. So it was pretty clear for me that like corporate would not be the place for me. So from corporate I moved to work in a startup, and then I moved to a consulting agency. So even like this incremental change of what kind of workplace, what type of workplace I work with was already a good step, because like I already knew that like I thrive in a more, and now I'm a solopreneur, so which is the best thing for me ever. So this was like this first, like the first layer of change, which was actually like the environment as a whole, that I found helpful. And then from this like incremental changes, I would go a level deeper, right? So what kind of tasks I actually enjoy? Is it, or what do I see my, sorry, I wrote some notes that I look at. Right, like what kind of tasks I enjoy. And there is this method called, I think it's called I wrote it down. Good Time Journal Activity Log. It was designed by Bill Burnett and Dave Evans from Stanford University. They wrote a book, Designing Your Life, and basically you can find it online. Designing Your Life, Bill Burnett, Dave Evans. If you Google it, you will find this like good time activity logs, and that basically, you know, like during the day, you would, and I did it too, you would write like what tasks did you have, right? Like I don't know, like I built an automation, and then I managed retrospective meeting, and then I did something else, and then you have like two axes, so to say, where you would or like a GOG chart, like, you know, like you have in a car. Where you would log like how much energy it gave you or taken away from you, and what was your engagement. So basically it can also help you just being like more mindful, like what I actually like doing in a day, and being like, you know, not letting the day pass like this, but like being like, okay, what was like the highlight of the day, what like I enjoyed more. And the moment you start writing this can already be more helpful to narrow down what you like doing in this work, and you know, even if the topic or what your company is doing is not necessarily like 100% what you want to do, like strengthening the skills can also be very, very helpful and give you better understanding. And then you just go like even level deeper. So like for me, giving my example, right? So like the first was going through like corporate to startup to consulting agency to having my own business. And through this kind of like task logging activities, I noticed that I love teaching. I love teaching, I love mentoring. I was always the person who would go to, onboard newbies when they joined our companies. Like I would like volunteer to show them like how the company works and all of that. And I was like, that's actually like that's it. Like that's this level further. Like I can do trainings. And then I started doing trainings, and then I realized, and I was teaching, actually. I was like teaching Salesforce newbies, who like unemployed folks who wanted to start a career in tech. And the case what I was teaching was Salesforce. And I had like absolutely amazing group. Like they were really like a group of lovely, lovely people. But it was like 25 people. And I was the only teacher, 8 hours a day. And I was I even though I loved it, I was like, I cannot do it for a longer time, because what I realized for that is that actually what brings me the most joy and also the most value to the other person is working in like much smaller groups or like one-on-one. And when I was tasked with being a mentor for one of the Salesforce admins, it was like it clicked. It was like, this is it, because I could give the attention to this one person. And also it was, like for a longer time, I could see how they are growing, how they are like, implementing those changes. And it was just much more fulfilling for me, even though, and like, I wouldn't have figured it out if I haven't tried all those different things. And if I didn't ask myself, like what's next, like how can this be even better, and just really taking this time to find it through this iteration. So some of the things, so this was kind of like on the higher level, and looking at some tangible tips for you. And what actually helped me the most to go through it, because it sounds so simple when I say it, like, I tried this, and then I tried that, and then I tried that, and, and everything fell into place. But, it wasn't like what now, maybe like a few years later, it sounds like this. But when I was during this process, it was not like this. It was definitely not like this. It was like a lot of chaos. So now to a more helpful part for you, is what really like helped me and what I think could help you as well, to find this more clarity. So first, what I said is taking 3 components. First is really taking this pressure off from you, that you need to figure it out now, because it will be a process. And also we change as humans, and our preferences change. So it's not like forever and ever, like a static picture, like it will be changing. So to kind of normalize that's the first thing. Second thing was really taking time to get to know yourself. Like I said, like I never asked myself question what I really enjoy doing, and what I'm particularly good at, until like I was, 25, 26, maybe even slightly older. Like, and I know it's not so uncommon, like especially for women who are mostly told what they should do and not what they want to do. So, there are different forms of self-reflection. One that I set with this like good time journal, from this Designing Your Life, where you can like add, you can check, what you like doing in a day at your work. And if you say nothing, I'm sure there's something you at least a little bit like I'm sure it's not 100% nothing. So try finding something like that's a little bit like, even if you don't like anything, like what's out of this day, what's something that you like the most out of it. So that's another thing. So being like more mindful and like really like understanding like what you like doing. Another thing what was very helpful for me, especially in figuring out what I like, what I'm good at, was there are different types of self-assessment tests, right? Like you can type it in the internet and you'll find plenty. What helped me the most was Gallup test, like Gallup strength test. It's also called Clifton Strengths test, or like Gallup test. So basically it's like a self-assessment test. I think it costs like 30 something I did it a couple of years ago, and it costs, I think, like 30 something euros to do this test. A lot of questions, like I don't remember how many, but like a lot of questions that you answer, and based on that, based on your answers, you get a personalized report with 34 strengths, and which are your core strengths. And what was helpful for me here was to really broaden the understanding of what a skill is, because like back from school, I would be used to saying that a skill is being good at maths or good at languages or biology or what have you. But actually, skill is a much broader term, and I can tell you from my result, like my core 5 talents are achiever, activator, empathy, developer, developing others, and optimism. So, and a little bit further are communication, I think impact, consistency. But basically, what was very helpful for me there is to really broaden what a skill is, and that actually things that come easily for me do not come easily to other people, and like vice versa, because I have skills that I absolutely suck at, that are like 32 or 33 on my list. So coming back to like my core 5 strengths, it basically, so it's achiever, activator, empathy, optimism, developing others. That means that I can get things done. I'm like this catalyst who brings ideas to action. Like I'm always this person on the meeting who's like, okay, so what is the next step? So that we just, it's not like we just had a conversation that led us nowhere. Like I'm like, okay, what's the next step? We need to get this thing moving. And a lot of like relationship skills, like being empathetic, which helped me with being a teacher and being a mentor. Developing others, like also very, very helpful when you want to mentor someone or coach someone. And positivity, because life is full of negative people either way. And I think it's also like someone to bring up it's not like the toxic positivity, it's just like like really having like more optimistic view and like really get this energy going. And now it sounds obvious that maybe I could be like a mentor or coach or teacher or do something that is with regards to relationship to other people, but like I never thought about it, like because those skills came so naturally to me, I never even thought about them as skills. And I've been working in tech, so like I thought that the skills that you need to have in tech are actually being good at using software or building software or managing products, right? But not necessarily, or selling this product, but not necessarily like being an activator or like mentoring others or like developing others. But like if you work in tech, like how many shitty meetings there are, how many shitty feedback calls there are, and how actually those human skills, those interpersonal skills are useful, and they are like undervalued. And like for me it was like a revelation, being like, oh, that's actually like, why do I try to become this great analytical skill, which comes like I'm good at it, but I'll never be extraordinarily good at it, so why don't I focus on something that I can be extraordinarily good at? And that brings me more joy. Like when I was like mentoring or teaching, like it didn't feel like work. Like it's to this moment, it's insane to me that someone would pay me to like help them develop and be better. Like like I don't like, it is work obviously, and I treat it seriously, but it's just completely different energy I approach it with than having to build up something, which I'm also good at, but like it's just a different story. So really, I highly recommend a Gallup test. And from there, like also like you have to do something with this test. So I know there are many specialists who like help you develop like a strategy that you can work with later on. I didn't do it, to be honest, but I did work with a coach. And that's another thing that I highly, highly recommend, because you only know what you only know. So of course, self-reflection, self-assessment is crucial, but also having someone reflect back to you and show their perspective can be super, super helpful. So if you have a possibility to work with a coach, with a mentor, that would be like that can be really, really, really life-changing. And if you're unemployed, there are also a lot of options to do it for free. I know in Germany there are many coaches who work with Agentur für Arbeit. I don't know how it is in different countries, but I'm pretty sure there are some affordable options. So that's one. So that's one thing. So getting to know yourself, Gallup test. That was what helped me. Another thing I wanted to add is, and actually it's the last thing, is that clarity comes from action. That's something that I won't tattoo it because come on, but it's one of the things that I say a lot, because I like thinking about my experiences, right? Like mentoring or teaching, or I also created a curriculum for one of the schools, which was pretty cool. I would have never thought myself into those things. Like I only like all of this, and I hope that's clear from this live. That's a little bit chaotic, but I'm trying my best here. Is that the reason I was able to create a life that I really enjoy and career that I really enjoy and that pays my bills, is that I was trying out different things. And now I have my business, so of course I have much more flexibility and much more freedom to be open to those different opportunities, to try them out and to figure out. But even when I was employed in those companies, I was curious, what else can I do? Like in one of the consulting agencies that I work for, we had facility. So we were managing projects, Salesforce implementation projects, so like tech implementation projects. So they were looking for like a volunteer to facilitate project retrospectives. So after, some project team finished their project, we would meet and reflect what went well, what didn't go well, what did we learn. And because sometimes those conversations can get a little bit hectic, we had facilitator, and also having a facilitator on meetings, like more important meetings, it's crucial. I will talk about it probably a little bit more sooner or later on this channel, and that's how I figured out that I actually enjoy doing it, because I signed up and I was like, let me take it. I will be facilitating, and this was great. This was I actually like this guiding people through a process and letting them figure something out and have an outcome, which is also this activator part when I look at my my Gallup strengths, right? So and I wouldn't know it if I didn't try it, but also I tried the different things that I didn't enjoy. I signed up for some marketing projects, like how to build some marketing apps, and it turned out it's not very creative. It's just clicking around in a tool, and I was like, it's actually not. And I had to continue doing it because I signed up for it. But at least I knew that's something that I, wouldn't like doing. And I think especially when you are employed in a startup, in corporate, I know it can be a little bit tricky. Although I've seen some companies who are open to shadowing or some cross-team projects, but there are options to try out what you can, different projects, signing up and checking out if this is something for you, especially if you want to later move on to a different career that's involves a different skill set. If you can hone those skills somehow in this current job, then it gives you already some advantage. So that's something that I would also recommend, and then I was doing. And that's every new thing is a learning, and you really cannot think your way through it. It's really clarity comes from action. And the last part would be really talking with others and being open to finding out what other people are doing and enjoying. the reason I went into Salesforce consulting and building applications was that I had a dinner with a colleague that I haven't seen in a really long time, and he told me what he's doing, and I was like, oh, that actually sounds interesting. And this was a career that I've been doing for more than 5 years, and I've really enjoyed it. And I would have never thought of it as a potential career. Like, even the name sounded like very like, oh, sales. Actually, it doesn't have much with sales. I wasn't selling anything. I was actually building applications. And same thing, like, you know, like when I started going to networking events, and I've really learned what is even possible. You know, like I was actually recently in talks about some interim position, and I didn't even know that people could be like hiring specialists for interim positions. And then I went to one of the networking events, and there was like this lady who was like interim CMO or like chief whoever for different companies. And I was like, how cool. Like, you go there like for 4 months, you know, then take some time off. And I'm simplifying it, okay? But like 4 months here, then take some time off, and then like come back. And, you know, it's so cool. So like, but you wouldn't know if you're like sitting at home and like doing and not meeting anything. So to really distill this entire monologue, how I've built a career I enjoy: first, take off the pressure that it has to happen immediately. It's a process. We change, our preferences change, and that's normal. Second, getting time to know myself, to know what I love doing, what I'm good at, and also preferably what the world needs, so that we actually, you know, bring value to the world. For me, especially helpful were the tools of Gallup Strength Test and this Good Time Journal from Designing Your Life book. And the third one, clarity comes from action. So you won't think your way through it. You need to try and experiment different things. And the fourth one, talk to other people and find inspiration with other people. It can be through working with a coach, but also through going to different networking events. And I know networking can really bring the ick, but there are ways to find like really good events where you can actually connect and not like roll your eyes, which I will talk about sometime in the future in this channel. But there are ways. So also being open to hearing from other people's experiences and seeing how this work actually looks for them, what they enjoy, and see if that's something for yourself. So that was it. I hope it was helpful. Again, it is my very first live, so please, you know, be gentle, take this into consideration. And if you have any questions, I'd love to answer it. So pop them in comments and let me know what else would you like to know. And for now, ciao for now. Enjoy the rest of your day.